Everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today's video, we're going to be talking about the In Praise of Shadows and the Wendigoon stuff because it's massive, it's big, it's huge, and I wanted to do a stream highlight video. Now, I want to make this clear that I'm going to be splitting up this stream highlight video into two parts because this is a lot. There was a lot to cover and a lot to go over. So this video is probably going to be extremely long. And the second one might be a little less longer, but I wanted to cover it by this one's going over the video and the other one's going to be going over the apologies that he's made and all the other shit that's come out about him, of him just basically sitting in his Discord server molding, and then of course all the other apologies he's made over the time, and just the responses of the other people involved in this subject. Now, before we get into it, I want to explain what kind of went down and what's happened. Basically, a YouTuber by the name of In Praise of Shadows, he's a horror YouTuber. He talks about horror stuff, the in-depth deep dives of like the meaning of horror movies, which I love. Keep in mind, I'm a huge fan of shit like that. I watch people like Dead Meat, Wendigoon is another one, and me myself, I even make my own, I want to make more, but I've made my own kind of like the Maneater series video that I've made where I've talked about horror movies, and I still want to. I love horror movies, horror games, or everything. I love all of this horror genre stuff. So it kind of sucks to see that another horror YouTuber is just going down the path of idiocracy. But basically, he made a video that was meant to be a response to his Hills Have Eyes video, which if you want some description of the Hills Have Eyes video, it's really bad. He essentially just sits there and says that the hillbillies are meant to represent Native American people when they clearly aren't. It's simply put that they're just a group of inbred monstrous people who are cannibals who want to kill the people that got stranded out in the desert. That's literally the point of the movie. At no point do I ever feel like this movie ever resembles making fun of Native Americans. So that's why he has such a bad rep with that video. And so he made a video about this. But keep in mind, hear me out, this is crazy, but at the end of his 3-hour video, 30 minutes, he complains about Wendigoon and talks about how Wendigoon is a fascist, racist, homophobic, transphobic, everything under the fucking book. He's a leader of a militia. He's part of a militia. He's part of the Boogaloo Boys. He goes down a rabbit hole of Wendigoon, tried to make him out like an evildoer. You know, Wendigoon, the guy who's like a sweetheart in the community, friends with like pretty much everybody. He makes fucking iceberg horror videos where he just talks about cool, fun stuff. Yeah, that guy. He's complaining, saying he is the fucking mastermind. I just can't even, I don't even know where to begin, okay? All right, I don't even know where to begin with that. Where he essentially calls them all of these horrible things and then lumps in people like Buckingham, Mutahar, Oompaville, Turkey Tom, Donut Operator, Shoeonhead, and basically says that since he's friends with these people, they're also a bunch of fascist bootlickers and racist and homophobes and R-words, you know, but Buckingham got the bad end of the stick by being called the R-word, you know, the dreaded big bad word. I don't want to say it here because it's YouTube, but let's just let it all play out for you guys because I don't want to keep wasting your time. I'll let the stream clips play out for you.
And that, like many people who talk about being Christians as much as he does, has a dark past with deep ties to far-right extremism. I have no need or desire to hear 5 hours of opinions on Blood Meridian from a 21-year-old millionaire who got famous around the age of 19. And I know that is probably the most...
See, that's like those little small things he says, like a 21-year-old millionaire. Like, I can't tell if this guy's just like jealous or something.
And so if you leave the home and immediately become famous and rich, without having to ever actually truly struggle, can you be considered to have ever actually had lived experience at all that would qualify you to give criticism on works of art about the experience of average and poor people? I would argue not. And if
I don't agree with that. I don't really agree with that. I don't think you have to be poor or live a poor life to give your opinion on like how you see the world. You can't like isolate groups of people just because they've never experienced it. Like you need forms of opinion from all over the place, even if someone's never experienced being poor. I don't know Wendigoon's like life story, so I don't know if he was ever once poor or he ever lived like a very middle class or poor life. But that whole like mindset of like, oh, well, you got rich when you were young, so you wouldn't understand the struggles, so you can't talk about specific subjects that pertain to poor people. Yeah, you're so rich you can never understand art ever. Like what? So what, you're like mad because he decided to do YouTube, he got successful, started making a lot of money, and now he's like incapable of comprehending art? Like, what? What does that mean?
The Wendigoon was raised in a very wealthy family, and with that comes from a wealthy perspective. He himself has inadvertently admitted that his family at one point had millions of dollars, when he said once on stream, "Would you believe me that when my dad was young, he used to be in an organized crime gang and is now a Sunday school teacher. Very wild life that guy's lived. He was in an organized crime gang that my grandfather ran. A lot of bad things went down. They got investigated by the FBI. My grandpa went to jail. My dad had to testify and tried to take up the business. The business fell apart, and he ended up losing millions of dollars to the state. Lost everything, found God, became a Christian, and is now both the best man and the best Christian I've ever met. But also..."
There it is. I don't know if this In Praise of Shadows guy is just like straight up, he's just really dumb. I mean, maybe we'll do a little education. We'll do a little education on what an organized crime is. But when you're in organized crime, or when you get yourself involved in organized crime, it's most likely because you are not doing well financially. A lot of people do organized crime to build up a bunch of money in illegal ways. That's what organized crime is. Like, when you look back at, like, let's talk about, like, Al Capone, right? Like, when we talk about, like, what was that era called? It was when alcohol wasn't allowed. It was illegal. A lot of those people who got involved in that shit were poor, okay? They were not very wealthy people. Like, a lot of these dudes got into that business because it paid out heavily. I mean, like, when you look at the mafia is organized crime. Like, a lot of people that are in the mafia are poor. They start poor, then they join the mafia, and then you gain a substantial amount of wealth purely because you're committing organized crime. You get a bunch of people together to basically illegally make as much money as physically possible. I don't know if this guy just can't put two and two together, just because... Oh, prohibition. Yeah, prohibition. I don't know if this guy can't put two and two together and can't comprehend that just because his family at one point had millions of dollars, that doesn't mean that he was wealthy for the rest of his life. I know people who went from being rich and then lost everything. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just because you have wealth at one point doesn't mean that you're wealthy for the rest of your life. Like, there are people who go from being wealthy to being poor. Like, dude, it's like, what? I don't understand that logic. That's not how that works. Like, if Wendigoon went on, like, stream to say, like, yeah, you know, from birth, I was born to a pretty wealthy family. I mean, he even said on stream that his parents lost millions of dollars and then went to, like, that's a low point, right? Wouldn't you say that? I would say that that's a low point, right? His family hit a low point in their lives. They found God, and then now he's a teacher. Like, what? This indicates, right, that Wendigoon and his family had a very low point. Right? Like, crime is terrible. Being in organized crime is terrible. Getting arrested is terrible. It's all bad. It's a bad business. It's bad to get into. That's a big low point. And then losing all that money is such a big low point. And then finding yourself somewhere, finding a purpose, and then building yourself back up is what his family did. I don't know what to say to that, bro. That's not, like, wealth from birth to now. Like, I don't know what to say to that.
From the bizarre gun ownership, the flagrant use from my perspective of his religion as a shield from criticism, to the belief that he at one point followed many far-right accounts on Twitter, from Kyle Rittenhouse to Parler.
Oh my god. Why are we still on the Kyle Rittenhouse stuff? Why do people get so bent on that shit? I don't know how to put this. There's a video on the internet where you can see what happened that night. Kyle Rittenhouse is innocent. I'm not trying to, like, dick ride Kyle Rittenhouse, okay? He's innocent. I don't know why people are so bent on Kyle. It makes fucking zero sense. He killed, like, what, 2 guys? They were chasing him down. Like, if you watch the video, like, he was being hunted down by 2 other dudes, threatening to hurt him. He never once used his gun until they took him on until they hit him. I think it was like they hit him or they threw him onto the ground. Then he turned around and shot. Like, everything in that video shows that, okay, I'm trying to leave the situation. I'm trying to get out of here. And then once he's being attacked, he retaliates. It's self-defense. I don't know why people are so hell-bent on the idea that Kyle Rittenhouse is, like, not innocent, that he's a murderer. Keep in mind, the 2 guys that he killed, one of them was like a sex offender and the other one was like a wife beater. Like, I don't know what to say to that information. Who fucking cares if he followed Kyle Rittenhouse? Or who, like, another thing is, who cares if the guy, like, likes guns? These people just choose either to not watch the video or just choose to it's because they're blinded by hatred of guns. Which I think that's what this guy does. He seems to be just an avid hater of guns. He just really does not like the idea of weapons. Which is fine, right? You don't have to like guns. You don't have to. But, like, why expect everybody else to follow that same mindset?
We could talk about his past and supposedly being a founding member in an online conspiracy theory group that, according to him, snowballed out of control into being a white supremacist neo-Nazi organization called the Boogaloo Boys. His online username at the time was Boogaloo Boy, and he claims to be the first to have started using it, but that he left the group and became Wendigoon after things started to get out of hand. Also, it should be noted that the Boogaloo Boys are known for wearing Hawaiian shirts, and guess who else always has on a Hawaiian shirt, despite the fact that he publicly totally does not share in their beliefs, guys. I'm just saying.
Chat. Wendigoon, he wears Hawaiian shirts. That means he's a fascist and he's racist. I love this guy. I think this guy's crazy. I don't even I don't even know what to say to this. His reasoning for why he thinks Wendigoon is still associated with the Boogaloo Boys is because he wears Hawaiian shirts. Let that sink in. Just let it sink in. The stretch is insane. The stretch is just ridiculously insane. Here's the thing. Now, Wendigoon has admitted that the whole, like, yeah, his name used to be Boogaloo Boys, but unless, like, listen, unless In Praise of Shadows has proof of Wendigoon going to these, like, riots with these Boogaloo Boys, or if he has proof of him showing, like, proof of Wendigoon being a massive supporter of this community, like, what are we supposed to do here? We have nothing. All we have is Wendigoon saying that he used to be called Boogaloo Boy, and it was all for, if I'm not mistaken, let's go back. I think he says it in this statement. It's got to do something with freedom of the people. Like, it was originally a small group of people that, like, believed in the whole, like, freedom of independence. I think it says it right here, the divine rights of he's covering it, of course, but the divine rights of self-independence and stuff like that. But the Boogaloo Boys are now, like, a group, kind of, think of like Antifa. They're kind of like Antifa, but for the right wing. And literally Wendigoon has explained this already in an entire, like, this entire thing explains, like, hey, I used to be called Boogaloo Boy. I changed that because these people got way out of hand. And then that's, like, pretty self-explanatory, right? Like, as long as we don't see that he's been a part of any, like, riots or groups of people doing terrible things to other individuals, there's nothing you can say that incriminates Wendigoon as, like, an actual, like, fascist right-winger who used to be a part of this, like, terrible community. Like, motherfucker, tell me your bad faith without telling me your bad faith. Like, dude, he's, like, it's crazy because it's, like, he's insinuating he's still a part of it. But he has nothing to show for it. Like I said, if you want to prove that this guy's still in this fucking community, then give me, like, do you have, like, proof of this guy being at, like, riots with these people or something? Because, like, we don't. And it's like, I'm more than welcomed. Sorry, not more than welcome, but I'm more than confident to assume that he's probably not in any of them, because you would probably see that. Like, a massive 3 million sub YouTuber, he would 100% be photographed at these riots or be photographed in, like, these, like, maybe some forums or something to show that he's in these groups. Is he not allowed to change? Like, is he not allowed to, like, be different and, like, move on and, like, change his opinion on things? What are we supposed to do here? There's plenty of people who go out of their way to change, like, their political opinions. There's plenty of people that go from being right-wing to left-wing or, like, extremist to centrist there's plenty of people who change their opinions over time. So let's just say he's right. Let's just say Wendigoon really was a part of this group and he was associating with like really far right wingers. Like him saying that he doesn't want to associate with them because he felt like you were going too far is like, that just shows that he's learned and he's like choosing to be a better person.
Wendigoon is very publicly friends with Turkey Tom. They have been seen together on multiple occasions, and I've seen online mentions that Tom was either at his wedding or at the very least was invited. Tom has been accused of using the N-word multiple times in
I
private
can't, Chad, I
conversations,
can't.
including
Chad, I can't. This guy's research is fucking god-awful. Turkey Tom, the guy who's known for being like good friends with Destiny, is like an extreme right-winger. He's an extremist, Chad, he's an extremist! You know, Turkey Tom, the guy who hates like all left-wing people? You know, the guy that just like hates leftist?
And he's also been accused of saying that the upper tiers of his Patreon were intended for Jews with deep pockets. Wendigoon is publicly connected to the internet historian, and is even a
pockets. Tom is crazy, dude.
In his videos. The internet historian publicly said that his birthday was April 20th. It is not, and has only said that as a joke because that is Hitler's birthday. Wendigoon is publicly friends with donor.
Dude, okay, Tom is a little unhinged. I don't know. I can't.
And even retweeted a photograph of the two of them hugging. Donut Operator is a gun-crazed, very far-right YouTuber with 4 million subscribers, whose career consists of him reviewing footage of police officers shooting and killing people. He was once a cop himself, before he made more money making YouTube videos and retired. His content is very pro-state, pro-cop, pro-gun, and pro-death to people who don't share his beliefs propaganda. For example, one of his videos is titled, Predator Takes Shotgun to the Face, and features a picture of him smiling in the corner of the thumbnail next to an image of a terrified man about to be executed by cops, with the text that reads, head removal.
Hi everyone, Donut here. We got a couple of shootings for you today. The main shooting just warms my heart.
And you know, for
that's crazy.
Someone who supposedly is so very anti-government, Wendigoon seems very comfortable with a man who makes his living worshipping violence committed by the state. He's a man of no conviction, claiming to be very against the government.
Worshipping violence committed against the state? That's a bold claim. Does he actually? That's a bold claim. I don't know. For a guy who has 4 million subs and gardeners like 1 million on per video, like, I find it hard to believe that 1 million people find it entertaining to watch a guy say that it was deserved to watch somebody get shot. I don't think this guy is like defending the shooting of people. I don't think that's what he does in these videos. Again, 4 million subs, and if he's friends with a lot of different people, I doubt that's what he does in his videos.
And for the rights of the people, while at the same time giving a warm embrace to one of the biggest fascist bootlickers on the internet. And the only thing...
Fascist bootlicker, that's another bold claim. Where did you get the fascism from?
This picture of them hugging is that he too is a fascist bootlicker himself.
Oh, okay, yeah, of course.
With Nick Crowley, who constantly makes money through the most morbid and shameful true crime content, of showcasing the last minutes of people before they are suddenly and unexpectedly killed. Crowley is similar to Wendigoon, in that on the surface...
Dude, I don't even know what this take is of Nick Crowley is. Like, what?
Seem fairly edgy, but clean enough. But then you notice that he follows less than 200 people on Twitter, and among them are the same circle with names like...
You don't follow enough people, that makes you a fascist. You only believe in the fascist ones, you freak.
He is publicly friends with Shoeonhead, who is a conservative masquerading
I love this part.
as a leftist, who has built a career off of lazy anti-woke content, complaining about SJWs, who says stuff like, Karl Marx rising from the grave finding out his movement has been taken over by fat, ugly, mentally ill losers. He is friends with Brandon Buckingham, a gun-
Oh, this is gonna get good. The Shoeonhead one is awesome because he just, he shows like no proof. His proof is like a fucking tweet saying like, Shoeonhead's actually a conservative hiding as a leftist. Like, proof? But yeah, the claim that like fucking Shoeonhead is like a hidden conservative acting as a leftist is wild. You gotta have proof for something. But
YouTuber who
this is the best part.
Of threatening rape. He is friends with Oompaville,
Hold up.
a gun-obsessed. His movement has been taken
Let's go back.
by fat, ugly, mentally ill losers. He is friends with Brandon Buckingham, a gun YouTuber who has been accused of threatening rape. He is friends with Oompaville, a gun-obsessed content creator that has taken advantage of Nakado Avocado's mental decline for fame and for money. And on top of that, has made content with the human trafficker, Andrew Tate. He is friends with Mutahar, who argued against Andrew Tate being deplatformed from social media websites, and has recently showcased a great deal of transphobia in his most recent video. He is
Oh, the three, the big three. He didn't do any research on any of these people, dude. Not a single ounce of research. Dude, the craziest part to me is I feel like he did worse by slandering Brandon Buckingham than like anybody else, because you literally just insinuated this guy's like like he's a rapist when he's like proven to not be one. Chad, I can't with this man. A gun YouTuber is awesome too, because he's not a gun YouTuber. Like, take 1 fucking second to look at his channel. Like, yeah, sure, you'll see a gun here. Inside the world of guns. This is the only video he's ever done about guns. Or like he might have a gun in the thumbnail here or something. But this is like, this is hood. Like he does like, if I'm not mistaken, the way Brandon Buckingham works is he does like interview-esque style stuff. Where he goes to like hoods or he goes to like areas and he just kind of like does like interviews of like different people of different like perspectives of the world. He's not a gun YouTuber. Like, he just isn't. Like, he does one video where he, like, goes inside the world of gun YouTubers, and now he's a gun YouTuber. Like, what? He's not. And then on top of that, you say that he's, like, a rape? He threatens rape on women. That was it takes, like, 5 minutes. It takes like 5 minutes to just go out and realize that the guy who said that was Sneeko. Keep in mind, Sneeko is a type of guy that this guy would not defend. But since he has a personal hatred towards these people, he is not afraid to defend Sneeko's claim of him being a rapist. Or like a guy who threatens rape. It takes seconds. Just a few minutes to just do a little research to find out if Brandon Buckingham really is like a rape threatener. And he's not. Like, it is a made up fucking statement from Sneeko. He didn't fucking threaten any rape. He's not. What? Oh.
friends with Oompaville, a gun-obsessed content creator that has taken advantage of Nakado Avocado's mental decline for fame.
Man, Chad, I can't take this anymore. He's taking advantage of Nikocado Avocado. Nikocado Avocado is killing himself. This guy is killing himself. And Oompaville, Charlie, Mutahar, me, Gio, fucking I could go down the damn list of people who have made videos about Nikocado Avocado and how what he's doing is really harmful to himself. I don't know why us saying that he is harming himself is a bad thing. I don't know how that equals that. Somehow it does. I don't know. I don't know how that equals that.
And for money. And on top of that, has made content with...
And for money? Fucking Nikocado does what he does for the purpose of monetary gain.
Human trafficker Andrew Tate. He is friends with Mutahar, who argued against Andrew Tate.
They're not gonna just randomly realize it.
Social media websites, and has recently showcased a great deal of transphobia in his most recent video. He is publicly...
That also with Mutahar, again, the statement you said earlier about his response to Mutahar saying, no comments on Mutahar, you're just transphobic. Fucking ridiculous. The thumbnail is not transphobic. I'm not gonna go into detail. The thumbnail isn't transphobic. And then the Andrew Tate shit. Oompaville and Mutahar, if you take 5 minutes to just look up on their channel, you would realize that none of them like Andrew Tate. They both do not like Andrew Tate. They don't defend Andrew Tate. They are critical of Andrew Tate. They are not defenders of Andrew Tate. It's crazy. Like, this guy just purely hates everybody here because they associate with Wendigoon. So he pulls out the most egregious things that these people have said to try to paint them as like negative. Like, again, just being a gun YouTuber doesn't make you an automatic bad person. Like, dude, just because someone's pro-gun doesn't mean like, uh-oh, this guy's evil. You know what I mean? Like, that's not what that means. Like, you know what I mean? Just because someone's pro-gun doesn't mean you're like, oh, you're now evil.
Publicly friends with Brandon Herrera, who has made jokes that implied that he was sympathetic
Made jokes that implied...
with public shooters who killed Leftist, and
Yeah, but that's such a big claim. That's such a big claim to make, that he's a guy who sympathizes with killings of leftists. Like, I don't know, like, you gotta bring something like that. You gotta bring, like, evidence to the table when you say stuff like that.
movement, but I cannot find substantial proof on if this is true or not. But I've seen several comments saying this, so online it is at least culturally believed to be true. He is
Whoa.
on if this is true, the original ghetto blaster. I've also seen people insinuate that Herrera was with Wendigoon in the days of being part of the Boogaloo movement, but I cannot find substantial proof on if this is true or not. But I've seen several comments saying this, so online it is at least culturally believed to be true. He is—
What does that mean? Guys, it's culturally believed that... Well, guys, it's culturally believed... it's culturally believed by the internet that they were together during this time, so I'm gonna go with that one. I'm gonna go with that one. No evidence. His evidence is that the internet said it happened, so it happened. Now, there's no evidence to suggest this, but people on Twitter said it's true, so I'm gonna believe these guys. Like, what? Guys, the internet said it was real, so I think it was real.
He's appeared in gun-related content with Haley Luan, an influencer whose content is based entirely around making the United States military appear fun and bizarrely sexually appealing, which again,
who fucking cares? Who cares?
for someone who is supposedly anti-government, he sure does seem to have a lot of wealthy white friends who actively work to uphold the values of the American empire. Or we could talk about the time that he stole art to use in promotional material for his videos, and then blamed it on his editorial team.
Why are you using the thumbnail I made as a part of your thumbnail? My apologies. No disrespect was meant at all. The image was put together by a friend as a teaser and was never meant to be the thumbnail for my video. I would have clarified if fan art was used either way. My bad. Here is the real thumbnail. Oh. Wait, then what's wrong with this?
Instead of just taking the responsibility. Then, of course, there is his username.
Wait, instead of taking the responsibility, what did he not do in there?
Work to uphold the values of the American empire. Or we could talk about the time that he stole
part of your thumbnail. This was the teaser image, but put together for fun. Apologies for not asking beforehand. Here's the actual video thumbnail. I'll delete the previous tweet, no worries.
art to use in promotional material for his videos, and then blamed it on his editorial team instead of just taking—
Well, he didn't blame... The image was put together by a friend as a teaser. It was never meant to be the thumbnail. What? He's not putting any blame on anything. He's just clarifying and then saying it's his bad. He's taking...
the responsibility.
What?
Of course, there is his username. To the Algonquin people, the Wendigo is a negative spiritual symbol.
Oh,
that is to
here
be
we go.
avoided and whose name is to never even
I'm gonna
be
have a
said
word
out
for this
loud
one.
or written down. So I know there's a bit of a hypocrisy there on my part, but we kind of do have to say it for academic purposes, so apologies for that. Starting with Algernon Blackwood's horror short story called The Wendigo. People have for hundreds of years taken the creature and used it for their own means, including Wendigoon in his very name, which is something that indigenous people have been very critical with him now for years. This next thing that I'm trying to argue is not to discredit—
It's culturally believed that you'll sleep with me tonight. It means it's gonna happen, actually. Hey, if everybody thinks it's happening, that means it did happen. Like, bro, imagine I, like, made a video where I, like, said, oh, it's culturally believed that this guy, like, had sex with a minor. That means it happened. Do you know how bad that would go for me? Like, oh my god. Like, imagine your evidence for why someone's, like, a pedophile or something is like, oh, it's culturally believed that you did it, so it's gotta be true. Twitter is a nether portal to another world. It is, dude. Twitter is crazy.
his feelings regarding to his own personal history. But what I will say is that Americans who are white or partially white in rural areas love to claim a percentage of native heritage for bizarre conservative reasons, relating to, like, reverence for the land and fascistic nostalgia for a time that never existed and stuff like that. He has attempted to deflect from criticism over the use of the name by saying that his grandfather was Native American, and that he learned these things culturally through him. But
See, I just don't get this, because you need like proof to show that he isn't native. Like, if you're gonna make the statement that it's like, no, you're just making that up because you're like a white man living in like rural America. You're just like the rest of them. You need to, like, if you're gonna make that claim, you gotta show something, man. And I'll get into it later because I don't think it matters if you're native either way. I don't think it matters. Okay, like, I don't think it matters. But like, you need to show something.
Personally have to look at it from the hypothetical perspective, where, say I had a black or mixed grandfather in this situation, and black people were telling me that I was doing something that was racist or offensive to them. I would then listen to what they were saying instead of claiming that I had the right to do it because I had some melanin in me. Especially if I were more or less...
If I had a person in my family tell me stupid shit like, oh, you're doing something offensive, I tell them, I'm sorry, like, this is just me, but I tell them to grow up. Me personally, I would tell them to grow up. I don't know. It depends on what you do, of course. Like, obviously, like, if a kid in your family is like of a different race, right? Like, then it's like, it depends on what they do. Like, if your kid is like doing something fucked up, then obviously, like, they need to sit down and listen. But like, if they, like, for example, if they said like the N-word, it's like, really? You're gonna get mad at that? Because if we put this into context, right? Let's put this into context. He's referring to Wendigoon using the word Wendigoon as his channel name. He's not doing anything racist against Native American people. He's not like mistreating Native American people. His name on YouTube is simply Wendigoon. That's it. And the Wendigo is a part of Appalachian or something. It's not Appalachian. It's like we'll learn about it in a second, but it's part of a Native American culture. We'll get into it because I don't think it matters if you shouldn't have to be Native American to be able to say the word Wendigoon or Wendigo, or like I don't think it matters, but
raised within a primarily white cultural area like the Appalachian Mountains are. And also on top of that, just, frequently associated myself with white supremacists. There are 26 million people in this region, and well over 80% of...
Again, what is that statement that he associates himself with white supremacists? Where?
...them are white, with the majority of the others being Latinos. And if I had no cultural connection around me to that non-white percentage of my history, then what really would give me the right to dictate whether or not what I was doing was appropriate? I really would have no ground to stand on. The other thing that I would...
Yeah, Wendigos are Algonquin. There it is. Wendigoon culturally believes he's 100% Cherokee. I don't think he believes he's 100%. Like, do you mean just like he knows he's Cherokee, or not like 100%? Because gatekeeping words. I'll get into that, brother, because I think gatekeeping words is ridiculous. Especially gatekeeping culture is ridiculous. But Wendigoon, I know that he knows that, like, he's like white. Like, Wendigoon is white. But I know that he's stated that he has Cherokee in him, which, yes, Cherokee doesn't preach the Wendigo. So either way, even if he's Cherokee, it's not like he's not Algonquin. So it's like, it doesn't have the relation, but it just shouldn't matter. Again, it's what Fan of Everything said. Gatekeeping words is ridiculous to me. I think it's
add to this is that
insane.
Wendigoon and I are practically neighbors, and I know this area very well. Okay, so I live in Asheville, North Carolina, and between that and the reservation, you have the community of Lake Junaluska, which...
What am I watching? Man, we're watching a guy try to make some, like, deep analysis about how Wendigoon actually can't be Native American. There's no way. And then he's also going to go on a tangent about fucking... he's going to go on a tangent about how he's not allowed to talk about the Wendigo, a fucking folklore creature of Native American of Native Americans. To me, I just don't understand that. Like, it's a fucking folklore. We should be allowed to talk about it. And we should be allowed to say it. Like, he should be allowed to have that as his name. You can't gatekeep a fucking creature. You can't. It's just like, it's impossible. I don't know how you do that.
Which isn't actually even a real town. You can walk across the whole thing in a matter of minutes. You got Waynesville, you have Maggie Valley, and a few other small drive-by communities. And beyond that is the Cherokee Reservation. Wendigoon lives somewhere just on the other side of the reservation. That is not me doxing him. He has said many times publicly that he lives in East Tennessee. And I'm not even saying what town he lives in. According to the latest census, there are only 23 black people who live in Maggie Valley. There are 15 Native Americans despite it touching the reservation. Most of this area used to be sundown towns. It is about as white as you could possibly get. Deep Appalachia is very white country, and for the most part, is exceptionally racist. Genuinely in this part of the country, you have to assume that any white person you meet is racist unless they show you otherwise.
That is ridiculous. Chad, don't listen to what this guy says. Please. Don't make assumptions about people, please. See, the thing is I love how this guy is like a fucking bread tuber leftist, you know? He's that type of dude who's gonna like... He's that type of dude to basically be like, stereotypes are bad. Stereotypes are really bad. But then is essentially telling you, hey, if you ever come here, just assume every white guy's a racist. Like, what? What? So now you're just insinuating that, yeah, you should assume that Wendigoon is a racist because he lives amongst this high populated white area. Like, what? So if an area is highly populated in white, that just means they're fucking racist. Cool. Great fucking assumption, buddy. Like, what? Unless they prove otherwise. Like, what the fuck does that mean? No, don't assume people are racist off fucking rip. Don't. That's a shitty thing to do. Like, man, I'd be pissed. I'd be pissed if I was meeting new people and, like, when they first met me, they just assumed I was a racist. Like, that's fucked up. Don't do that. That's like a shitty thing to do.
Almost all of these little towns are well over 90% white.
Until dawn.
But if you were to drive through Maggie Valley, you would find antique stores selling busts of Native American braves, carved wooden eagles, vintage paintings of buffalo, super racist generalizations that idealize the idea of the noble, good kind of Native American. And then you'll drive onto the reservation, and it's just run down and poor as shit except for the casino. He has said that the Wendigoon name came from his cultural connection to Native lore through his grandfather's side. But I can assure you that unless you were on the reservation itself, that actual Native culture has no aspect in the general lives of the people around here, other than the...
Chat, believe it or not, the Wendigo is a very widespread and known creature.
his cultural connection to Native lore through his grandfather's side. But I can assure you...
Again, keep in mind, before we go into this, he is assuming Wendigoon is just pure white. His assumption as to why Wendigoon is pure white, nothing else, is because there's not enough Native Americans living in this area, so there's no way you could be Native American. That's basically what we're getting at here, is that you're assuming he's not Native American because barely any natives live here. Yeah, maybe a couple fucking... Yeah, like maybe 50, 100 years ago, yeah, fucking they lived there. Believe it or not, they probably lived there a long time ago. So it's not hard to believe that he might have some ancestry in him of Native American, like, descent in, like, his grandpa and his great-grandpa and all these other people. Like, again, you can't make an assumption about a guy without proof. You're saying that the guy isn't Native American.
That unless you were on the reservation itself, that actual Native culture has no aspect in the general lives of the people around here, other than the racist trinkets that depict them. And as I said a moment ago, the Wendigo is...
What does that... See, this is what I mean by gatekeeping fucking... Gatekeeping culture. You can't gatekeep culture. if other people want, like, here, don't get me wrong, like, there are, like, people who make, like, you know, statues and shit of, like, Native American stuff that might be, like, wrong depictions. Like, don't get me wrong, that's probably true. But, like, but, like, fucking, like, dude, people should be allowed to share their culture, and people should be allowed to experience and want to know what that culture is and express that culture to other people. There's going to be a segment here where Wendigoon shares his opinion, and I agree with Wendigoon's opinion on it, because you can't gatekeep a culture, because if you gatekeep it, it dies. Like, culture dies when you tell people you can't share it. It's ridiculous. Like, if you tell everyone that isn't Cherokee to not associate with Cherokee, like, folklore and whatnot, that folklore is going to die out and eventually fades out of existence. There is plenty of Native American folklore, Native American languages, and Native American people who have essentially faded out of existence because they don't have, their culture isn't widespread. And that's what sucks, because their culture doesn't get spread around, so it dies. Like, there is nothing wrong with, like, a white person wanting to learn about the Wendigo and wanting to learn about other folklores, about other Native American, like, you know what I mean? Like, Native American culture. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. It's great to learn other people's culture and to get to know other people's culture. You should want people to learn about your culture.
Algonquin, who are nowhere close to the vicinity of the Cherokee, who are in the southern Appalachia region and throughout the lower sections of Middle America. The Algonquin people are Canadian and a little bit north.
Yeah, the Wendigo, if I'm not mistaken, comes from Canada, but that doesn't mean that folklore can't be spread through other Native American tribes. I don't understand that logic. Hey, you got something to say?
Well,
Is it good? Is it good food? Is it good Greek food?
I'm eating a lamb and a garlic chicken.
Oh, lamb.
Yeah. Fuck this Praise of Shadows guy!
He's evil!
I'm so angry.
Northern American, to insinuate that he can use the Wendigo name by citing local cultural native customs is completely absurd to a person who lives in the same general vicinity as he does. It is obvious that he just thought Wendigos were cool, and has come up with some seemingly strange backstory lie that is easily proven to not be true, unless, you know, his grandfather is Algonquin and just moved to Tennessee. But if that were the case, I don't know why he wouldn't just come out and say that by now. And the reason why he doesn't is because it isn't true. There's a lot of bizarre, religious-like mythologizing around his past that I particularly hate. Like it always being said that his interest in cryptids and horror began with oral folktales in Appalachia that are passed down and told to children. I assure you, as someone who lives near him and has for most of my life, this is total bullshit, and is some weird, false, cultural, imaginative idealization of the American South that is not actually true to the real Appalachia. We aren't sitting around at night talking about the goddamn Mothman and shit. I even came from a poor...
That's not true. There's plenty of people in, like, weird parts of fucking America. I forgot where Mothman's located, but those people, like, worship him. Virginia! They worship that guy.
Yeah, it's in Fallout 76.
They worship that guy. They worship Mothman. They tell the...
Yeah, this guy's a freaking idiot.
They tell the stories, the tales.
Oh.
You really like that Greek food, huh?
I took another bite.
Must be real good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's also said some shit about cultural appropriation that put up some serious red flags for me. The Wendigo comes from the Algonquin people. I don't think Cherokees come from that group. Plus he's presenting the white people concept of a Wendigo. You can call him out, but he has 3.5 million subs. His community will probably hunt you down before you ever get him to shut down. What follows is the...
Who cares? Don't gatekeep don't gatekeep culture. I think that's retarded. I don't know. You should be allowed to put Wendigo or Wendigos in like his merch and shit. He's allowed to use it. Really retarded to like sit there and say like, oh, you're not Algonquin, so that means you can't use the Wendigo. That's like retarded.
When we stop talking about
he deleted the
cultures,
video
they
itself.
die.
Yeah, he deleted the whole thing.
I know he cut out that section, but I didn't know he deleted the.
Yeah, it's gone. It's completely gone.
Dude, I would have kept it up. This guy does not get a lot of views, especially the amount of
Well,
like he
especially
uploads.
since he like claimed that he was paying like rent at like $500 or something. He only made like $500 in a month or something. Like that's bad.
Yeah, if you're uploading like once a month and you don't get a lot of views, I would not. I would own up to your shit, but keep the video up.
I think he's just retarded. That's what I think. I just don't think you should gatekeep culture. I think like the idea of gatekeeping culture is retarded.
I mean, yeah, true. I'm just it'd be way funnier to shit on this guy
If he actually like
talked
made
about
videos
like a Chinese folktale, and then he was like, "Don't talk about other culture." But I guess he's just retarded, normal retard.
I mean, I can maybe. Well, he got into like old controversy because of his Hills Have Eyes video, I guess.
Did you see his new community post?
Oh, he has a community post?
An hour ago.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Want me to read this out, or do you got it, Papa?
I think you should read this out for us.
Oh, one sec. I'm chewing on lamb.
I'm chewing on lamb. This'll be good.
Oh yeah. All right.
I'm glad you went in there, Kevin. I'll join you later.
Woo! All right. One last quick note. Hey everyone, I've already publicly addressed this on Twitter and Patreon, but I thought I'd do a community note before I left. I've decided it's best at the moment for me to take down the entire bad conservative horror video. It does not represent me and who I wish to be as a person or a creator. I admit that I messed up pretty badly in my delivery and made a lot of mistakes, and I really am sorry for that. If I could do it again, I obviously would have done everything differently. This kind of content is not my forte, and I've avoided doing it in the past because of that. After being harassed in December by Wendigoon fans and called slurs dozens of times, I was deeply upset over how I had been treated and my perception of him not calling off the attack. I acted out of hurt and acted in a way uncharacteristic of myself. Some people have described the video as being very raw, but with that comes an element of being underbaked. I didn't do the level of research I should and normally would have done. I messed up there, and fully acknowledge that in every way. So I'm taking it down. At the same time, I do not believe the harassment I have received these past few days has been called for for what I have done. Wait, what? At the same time, I do not believe the harassment I have received these past few days has been called for based on what I have done. Any criticism of my work is fair, and I accept, welcome, and own that. We are all measured by our words and our actions, but I do think it's dangerous that these creators do not tweet about or acknowledge the obvious situation at play. I'll be fine. This is the last thing I'll say before I log off for a while. I want to reevaluate what I want my work to be, how I want to stand as a positive force within horror, and how to be my best self. I hope you believe in me and my work again when I return. Again, for my mistakes in this video, I am sorry. I'll be back again, a stronger and better self for both me and you. Zane. Oh, this guy's the white ninja from Ninjago.
Yeah,
Fuck.
He's the robot.
He's that guy from One Direction. Fuck.
He really went downhill.
What the fuck? What did he do to himself?
What does that middle part mean, though? What is he saying?
Okay. So he says, at the same time, I do not believe the harassment I have received these past days has been called for based on what I have done. Any criticism for my work is fair, and I accept and welcome and own that. So he's basically saying, like, everything people are saying about him is like, yeah, that's true.
Okay.
I think. The only thing I don't agree with, he says, I think it's dangerous for these creators to not tweet or acknowledge the obvious situation at play. I think if you say something stupid and people under their own volition decide to do that with you, it's not the creator's responsibility to be like, hey, pipe down, little kitten. Like, no, dude. Like, I hate the idea that this guy's suggesting, where you need to like control your fan base, because that in itself is going to encourage a level of parasociality that's going to end up like a dream situation or something like that, where it's just going to
Yeah.
become like dangerous.
Hey!
Hey! Let me in!
Hey, what are you doing here?
Fuck! Are you still alive?
I'm still
'Cause
live.
Okay, good. I got some words I want to say about this shit.
Okay.
I had some.
Go ahead.
I had some pent up
Speak away.
feelings. So, the whole reason Wendigoon uses the Wendigo in the first place is because his grandfather, who I'm like vaguely sure he said was either Native American or like
He said that his
was
grandfather
like
is of Cherokee descent. I think that's
yeah,
what he said.
his grandfather's a Native American who told him about the stories in the first place.
Yeah.
So therefore, relatively, it's safe to assume that he's either part Native American, which would make him indigenous in the first place, or he not only has exclusive ties to Native American heritage to where this wouldn't even be considered cultural appropriation. This guy is the biggest schizophrenic on the planet, and it makes me so fucking mad.
But Gio, you have to understand. He's not Native
I
American.
don't understand. I don't fucking get it.
Wendigoon's lying because where he lives, it's only white people, white racist people.
Dude.
So that's why.
Dude, like me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like me?
You have to understand, he didn't have that same experience. He didn't
Yeah.
have that same experience, so that means Wendigoon is lying.
That means if you didn't have the experience of being Native American, you're not, guys. big news.
I just loved that part when he was just like, growing up here, being poorer than you, Wendigoon, I never experienced any of that. Like, yeah, you're white.
I don't know what you're talking about with this sharing traditions and stories. I don't get this shit.
Never heard of him.
What the fuck is a story? You're just racist. Dude, I also... Oh my god, it still irks me that people are bringing up the most blatant case of self-defense on the planet in 2024.
You talking about the Kyle Rittenhouse shit?
Yes,
it
dude.
blows my mind how he used him like multiple times in this video. Like, these guys followed Kyle Rittenhouse. That means he's a conservative fascist who likes to kill minorities.
Dude, Kyle Rittenhouse Kyle Rittenhouse shot a white guy. Alright? That's not a hot take, bro. He shot a white guy who was high on meth chasing him down with a skateboard, and there's video of it.
It's like evidence for why Wendigoon's like an evil mastermind is like him saying Kyle Rittenhouse beat the case. Like, yeah, no shit. A guy that committed like self-defense is like innocent.
A guy who didn't commit a crime.
Yo, wait, Marchbaby.
Beat his case, dude. It's crazy.
I think one of your friends might be a right-wing nut job.
Uh-oh.
Oh god. Oh god. You can't help me like that.
Hey, this guy mag dumps on people.
No, I don't, I swear.
This guy's a furry and he mag dumped.
You see that Glock? He mag dumped it on a minority.
He has no safety. He was raring to go.
No safety.
That's
no
a mag
nothing.
dumping Glock.
You see how his fingers on the trigger? He has
no trigger discipline.
He's ready, dude.
No trigger.
No trigger discipline. He wants to shoot it.
You see the anger in his eyes.
You see the rage.
The videos
This is
are
drawn in
pretty
like
chill,
some
but
little
good.
kid's homework too. He's like turning his math homework, and there's like a picture of me on it.
He took a picture of his fucking math homework, and you're there.
You see the rage
Dude,
in the
that's
right.
said or done if you are making money off of them. And what resulted from some good faith criticism of his use of language was days upon days of people calling me offensive.
He said retard, no!
Other things, but that was their go-to word. And to be honest, if you're
I love how he's like schizophrenically constantly posting about this guy, and he's like, I was harassed.
Well, yeah, like
He's like made 5 billion posts, and he's like, his fans are harassing me. He's like farming engagement.
well, like I don't know, like if you're gonna make like a tweet, like kind of shitting on Wendigoon for like his quote unquote religion and like political beliefs, like you're kind of expect like a couple of retards to come in and like call you the F slur. Like it's not, I don't know, like to me that just doesn't make sense. Like it's not his fault that a few dumbasses came to you and said, well, I'm not gonna say it, but they called you like like the F slur. You know what I mean? Like it's like I don't know what you expected.
Literally. Oh
Like,
my god, there are shitty people on the internet, and you are responsible for all of them.
You're responsible for these freaks.
And this did go on for like at least a week, where every single time I said anything, my mentions were just filled with the most vile far-right rhetoric from Wendigoon fans. And if anyone ever criticized me, and people's reaction to it was to
Does he
immediately
even have
start
any
using hate
screenshots of
speech,
this?
No.
Okay.
I would shut
No.
that shit down so fast.
You think he's gonna make
I think that most
an
decent
allegation
people
he
who
can
work on
back up? Are you stupid?
He's been making allegations this whole damn video with no evidence. These damn Appalachians.
line would do the exact same. And if they don't want to be seen as a big group of Nazis, then let's see how they react to this video's existence, because I am certain they will be very level-headed about all of this. Right in the midst of this going on,
The funniest thing is everyone was pretty level-headed. Like Mutahar, like Wendigoon, Mutahar, all these people like said nice things about him. They were just like, you kind of like slandered me, but you know, it's like, I had no hard feelings. And then this guy went on Twitter to be like, that Mutahar guy, I have nothing to say to him. He's a transphobe. I still believe everything I've said. This is evidence. When he knew.
several times, and then followed me to let me know that he knew, and that he was watching and that he intended to do nothing to stop it. Why else would he follow me in that exact moment? He has never interacted with a single one of my posts.
Pause.
Not one line.
Maybe he thought that if he followed you, his rabid fans would be like, oh wait, he's following this guy. Maybe they're friends and having a disagreement.
Well, Wendigoon said that the reason why he followed him is because he watched one of his videos and was like, oh, that's a cool video. So he followed him.
That's crazy.
Which is like very, like, yeah, that's how it like works.
That's a
typically.
huge compliment from a massive YouTube channel.
But his reasoning for why he followed him, and he said, this is 100% why he followed me. It's because
I don't think Wendigoon's following him anymore.
he followed him because he knew he knew his fans were harassing him and he wanted to watch it happen.
Yeah, I know they're harassing you. And you want to know something? I want it.
I want to watch it
want
happen.
it all.
I like watching you squirm.
I like watching your face as it happens.
I like watching you struggle. I like watching my fans call you the F slur constantly.
I like hearing your tears as they fall down your face onto the floor.
You followed me. That means you know they're doing this to me. That means you like it, don't you? You like it when they come to my Twitter and they harass me. You like it, don't you?
We're not friends, but he does follow me. He follows next to nobody on Twitter. What other motivation could he have had there to follow me in that specific moment, other than to be a method of quiet and deniable intimidation? What other way could that have been read from my perspective? If you think it was entirely coincidental, which he may argue it was, then I've got a sack of magic beans I'd like to sell to you. That was the moment that pushed me over the edge to make this video.
Him following him was the moment that pushed him over the edge. He got a follow from his least favorite YouTuber and he said, all right, I think I'm gonna make a video on this guy.
Or other very public instances.
It's crazy that he's literally
transphobia
rip-off
and
Wendigoon.
like when he allegedly
It's also
said,
crazy that
"All
he's
Christians
wearing a Hawaiian shirt while he's making a video talking about how Hawaiian shirts are linked to white supremacy groups.
Yeah. That's what I noticed earlier. I was like, wait a minute, you're wearing a Hawaiian shirt. What is this?
That's my favorite part of this whole video.
Oh yeah, he brings up like the Chris Chan argument. Chris Chan's like an evil fucking person. I don't think I care what Wendigoon says about Chris Chan.
What did you say about Chris Chan?
Calling Chris Chan a man who mutilated his body with a box cutter because 4chan said he was a girl, holds a deep hatred for men and most women, decided to be a girl so he could hook up with lesbians and now abuse his mom. She is disrespectful to
To be fair, Okay, Marchbaby, you know how spurgy I am about like defending fucking trans people. Right?
Yeah.
Chris Chan is 100,000% most likely, maybe, not transgender because he's gone on the record and said that he literally the only reason he transitioned was because he wanted to have sex.
No, yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Well, that's literally what he's saying. That's what Wendigoon's saying right here. He's completely agreeing with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was realizing.
No, I know.
Earlier.
So like people who make the what I'm trying to say essentially is that people who make the argument that like to be clear, I think probably you should just default to calling Chris Chan a girl because like who the fuck cares? It's not. I don't think it fucking matters. I don't think it's whatever. But like people who
still like respond to
like use Chris Chan like, oh, you're transphobic if you don't respect them or whatever. Chris Chan is like genuinely just like an evil individual and has admitted to transitioning for like really shallow reasons and has shown no actual evidence of like actual gender dysmorphia.
Yeah.
So like I think if you're allowed to be transphobic, like as a treat to maybe one person, I think Chris Chan probably
as a
treat to the best transphobe out there. You get this for good behavior.
He said, "We will be watching your career with great interest," which is just kind of gross because in a way it is similar.
Oh
to
my god!
It is him.
Isn't he saying
him.
this to the Mandela Catalog guy?
No, this is just a trans girl who makes like horror genre videos.
Yeah, he's literally like he's encouraging some trans horror creator, and he's saying that it's gross. I think he's transphobic. I think this is our first evidence that he's transphobic.
He like assumes that he's like saying like, "Oh, we're gonna be watching you closely, and if you fuck up, we're gonna
watching your house.
If you fuck up, we're gonna take you down."
You think I'm a fucking joke? You think I'm a fucking joke?
Dude, on Wendigoon streams,
I'm friends with
like
cops who
actively
mag
support
dump.
small creators by reacting to them and like shouting them out. What?
Yeah,
I know, it's awesome.
This is so autistic. This is really autistic. I think maybe it might be. I don't know.
Yeah.
Dude, I think you know what I think it's because Mrow. I think In Praise of Shadows is transphobic.
Oh,
I think he's transphobic.
Okay, unironically, he could to be a little conspiratorial. He legitimately could be transphobic because a lot of people who have like a phobia in like a social phobias like homophobia, racism, whatever. A lot of people that have that thing will project it onto other people to try to make themselves look like they're not that thing. So unironically, if we put on our like our conspiratorial caps, this guy could unironically just be like a fucking weird transphobic, like racist, mag dumping cop, and we just wouldn't know.
That'd be really funny if he was.
Body cam footage releases, he like mag dumped a 6-year-old.
With takes like, "Oh, he's just a YouTuber. Why does it matter?" Or, "So what if he's a conservative? Is that a problem?" Which the answer to that is yes. But the reason that I care is because this
You have
does
a
not
political
belong
belief? That's a problem.
Okay, I think conservatives on average are really retarded, but to claim it's a bad thing to have a certain political belief, especially when it's as broad as conservatism.
Yeah,
is
literally
really retarded, and it shows that you have like no fucking political literacy at all.
It shows that you are not only incredibly closed-minded, but just as schizophrenic as all the retarded conservatives that say that every single liberal is a bad person.
I care deeply about horror, and everything that he does has demonstrated so
I
far
care
in his
deeply
career that he should
about
not
horror.
be welcomed in our spaces, or even, just in public in general. I think that these
Wendigoon
things
should not be allowed in public in general.
He should not be in public? He shouldn't be allowed to talk to people? This guy needs to fucking lock him up, dude.
He's evil. He's evil.
Put him behind fucking bars.
He shouldn't even be allowed outside.
I don't think he should be. I'm gonna fucking mag dump his ass.
Yeah, I'm sorry for such a long video today. It was a lot to talk about. It was a lot to cover, a lot to talk about, a lot to address. And again, just to kind of summarize this up, it's a massive mess of a hit piece where there's no evidence, no proof, nothing shown. He doesn't provide anything. He just makes a bunch of speculations about Wendigoon simply because he's wearing a Hawaiian shirt or that he ran a meme page or because he follows a couple people on Twitter, even though the people he follows just simply put, he's a gun guy, he supports guns. guns. That's simply it. I don't think that you could be evil for owning a gun. Now, the one thing I wanted to address is that this guy is known in his older videos. I believe it's older videos. I can't remember if it's this video or older videos, but the guy has basically equated horror as a left-leaning genre. And although I will admit that, yes, there are a lot of movies in the horror genre that pertain to the left, where they spread a message that's very left-leaning. Some good, some fucking god-awful. But horror is not pertained to just left, which is this guy's massive problem. This entire video is just simply put, he's gatekeeping an entire community. He's a left-leaner who hates anybody who isn't far left. And so if you're anything far left, you're basically a fascist, horrible person who probably hates like gays and black people and everything. Because most of this video, even in one part that I showed you, he literally sits there and says that being a right-winger is a problem. Like being a conservative is a problem, which I don't know why this is controversial, but if you're conservative, there's nothing wrong with it, okay? You can be what you want. It's okay to be what you want as long as you're not like an extreme asshole about it, right? Like realistically, who cares if Wendigoon really is a, you know, conservative? Now, we don't know his political value, so I don't know why we're talking about it. I don't know why the guy is bringing it up because it doesn't matter. He doesn't talk about politics. He's not a political guy. He just likes to talk about fucking cryptids and stupid shit on his channel, which I love. Everybody loves it, right? It's why he's so massive and big, which you could take a fucking page out of his book, buddy, because nobody wants to watch you complain about horror movies and why they're not left-leaning enough for you. That's probably why you're struggling financially, and that's probably why you don't get as many views, because you're only pertaining to one group of people, because you're pandering to so many people just on one political spectrum. Like, it's fucking ridiculous, dude. Grow the fuck up, maybe? It's just crazy to me how this guy is so anti anything that isn't like some socialism or communism or any of that stuff, right? He's so against anything that isn't that, and it's ridiculous, okay? People can have different views. People can have different opinions, and believe it or not, in Praise of Shadows, people can watch horror and be a right-winger. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, in Praise of Shadows, I'm a centrist, right? I consider myself a centrist. I love horror. Horror is one of my favorite genres. I love talking about it. I love playing games in it. I literally just recently bought a board game called Final Girl, and it was super fun to play. I just love horror. I love everything about horror. It's my favorite genre. I just love everything about it. So it's ridiculous to me that this guy is gatekeeping a whole fucking community and decided that it would be just such a great idea to make massive assumptions about a YouTuber simply because you think he leans to the right. That's fucking insane to me. But anyways, guys, I'll probably talk about this more in the second video as well and just kind of express my feelings a little bit more in the second video. This one was just a massive video. I don't want to keep dragging it on, and I'll see you guys next time. And if you guys enjoyed the video, feel free to leave a like, subscribe, and click on the notification bell. And if you guys really love my channel and videos and want to show support to the channel, feel free to become a member. It starts at only $2 a month. I know, lower than most channels. And it comes with perks like special emotes for live streams, members only live streams, and just many more perks. But anyways, guys, I don't want to keep rambling on, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.